Are you preparing for your HESI A2 exam and you're not sure what to expect on the grammar section? Do you need to brush up a bit on grammar concepts like clauses, conjunctions, verbs, pronouns, and adjectives? Well, I'm here to help. I'm Liz with smarteditionacademy.com, and today we're going to go through a HESI A2 grammar practice test together. You can access this realistic practice test and follow along with me if you click the link in the description. Together, we'll check out question by question, go through the answers, and explain why the correct answer is correct. As we go along, we're going to encounter some new or review some old grammar concepts, so be sure to grab your notebook. But before we start, it's super important to check out the links in the description below. That way you can access our HESI A2 online study group, that's free, or access our self-guided online course, which has interactive practice questions, videos, flashcards, and more for all sections of your HESI A2 entrance exam. Let's get started. People have blank arms and legs. Okay, so we see this as a spelling question. The challenge with spelling questions is that it's hard to study all the words in the world. And it's also hard to listen because sometimes two words are spelled in the same way, or they sound the same, but they're spelled in different ways, or they don't exactly sound the way they're written. So what I advise students is to increase the amount of reading that you do, even just a few minutes a day, of a really reputable source like an official newspaper or magazine or a published book. Because if you're reading something like social media, people might have spelling errors. But if you're reading a newspaper or a published book, you'll see some more spelling. Another way you could prepare for this is also you could download some kind of spelling bee type app and then just do a few minutes a day. Maybe you can win some points and make it into kind of a game with yourself to challenge yourself about spelling. So that could be a fun way too, because it's hard to logic and reason with these type of spelling questions. Let's take a look at our options. First one, to. Okay, so here we have to. And that is a preposition. So I went to the store. So that's not what we're talking about here with arms and legs. No. The next one is to, I guess. If you look at maybe French or Spanish, this is a word, but not in English. To, okay, so the third option, TOO. So that means also. So she likes chocolate. I like chocolate too. But we wouldn't put that here before arms and legs. So what we're looking for is to count the number of arms and legs. So our final choice, TWO, is the number 2. So of course, very confusing because, 1, 3, and 4, they all sound the same. But if we're reading more, we'll recognize that the number is the last one. Choose the correct sentence. 1, my favorite day of the week is Tuesday, my favorite month is March, and autumn is my favorite season. Okay, so we're looking at capitalization here. When do we put those uppercase, those capital letters, and when do we keep it in lowercase, the smaller letters? So here we've capitalized Tuesday. So that is correct. We do capitalize days of the week because they're called proper nouns. So like an official name of something, for example, my name, Liz, that's capitalized because it's an official name of something. And Tuesday is the official name of that day of the week. Next one, my favorite month is March. Okay, so good. We've also capitalized that. We do capitalize months of the year. Next, we see autumn is capitalized. But unlike Tuesday and March, which are proper nouns, autumn is what's called a common or a general noun. So it's more general. It's not as specific. It's not really the name of something. This one's a little bit debatable because, you could say that's the name of the season, but we consider the season more general than the days of the week or the months. It's also something you could memorize. You can look at a list of common versus proper nouns and do some practice with that. But this answer is going to be incorrect because we don't capitalize autumn. So let's look at the next one and see what we can find. My favorite day of the week is Tuesday. Okay, good. Tuesday, proper noun, capitalize. My favorite month is March. Good, we capitalize that. And autumn is my favorite season. So now autumn is not capitalized. It's lowercase, so I definitely like that option. Okay, third one. My favorite day of the week is Tuesday. Okay, thumbs down. We can already eliminate this because we do have to capitalize Tuesday. That's a proper noun. So we can eliminate number 3. And okay, we can eliminate number 4 also. All right, so we're going to go with number 2. So if you remember common and proper nouns, Basically, you can think, for example, common is more general, like a dog. We don't capitalize dog, but if you're talking about Snoopy, that's his name, so we capitalize with an uppercase S. So you can do some studying on that point. Subjects blank to their king to show respect. So here we're obviously talking about the bodily motion like this, bending forward. So the first one, bow. Okay, so that is a bow. That is the word here. And that is a spelling. This can be tricky because this word, if we just look at the word and we don't know the context, it could also, for example, be a bow, like a hair bow. In this case, it does fit in, and we see from the context it means to bow, to bend forward. So that is the correct answer. We'll go through the others just to rule them out. So B-O-U, not a word in English, at least not one that I've heard of. So no. B-A-W, no, I don't recognize that as a word. The next one, beau. Okay, so it's a word in French, and it's also an old-fashioned word in English for a boyfriend, for someone you're dating. But it doesn't fit here because well, in French it would be an adjective. In English it would be an old-fashioned type of noun. And what we're really looking for is a verb here because we're saying subjects blank. Subjects are the people and they need to take some kind of action. So the action they're taking is bending forward. They are bowing, number 1. Choose the correct sentence. The House of Representatives has 435 members. So option 1, we see we have a lot of lowercase. In fact, all lowercase there except the first word, which is always capitalized. The problem here is that the House of Representatives, and we're talking about a specific one here because it's one with 435 members. So the House of Representatives needs to be capitalized because it's an official body. So that makes it a proper noun, as we talked about common versus proper noun. So for example, if we just said the governments of many countries are disorganized, that's more general. But here we have a specific organizational body we're referring to. So this lowercase does not work. Okay, the next one, we see the House of Representatives. What's different in number 2? Well, they capitalize house. Okay, that's good. But it's not enough because this is an official name. So we're going to look at number 3, the House of Representatives. Okay. So are you considering this one? Do you think, okay, well, this is a proper noun. It needs its official capitalized name. The problem is there's always a little bit of an exception to challenge us, but we'll learn the rule. When we have one of these little short words, like a preposition, in this case, we have of, we don't capitalize that in titles or in proper nouns. That little of is not capitalized. So we're going to look at number 4. We have House of Representatives. The longer, more important words are capitalized because it's a proper noun, but not the preposition, which we don't capitalize. Choose the correct sentence. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California. Okay, so here we have governor is not capitalized, but California, which is the name of a state, so a proper noun, is capitalized. Okay, I like that option. Let's look at number 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California. Here, what's different? We've capitalized governor. Well, in some cases, we do capitalize governor, but in general, that's when governor goes before the name. So like Governor Johnson, we could say. But here it's not before his name. And in this part of the sentence, we don't capitalize it. But it's good that we capitalize California because that is a proper noun. The next one, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California. Well, we need to keep that California capitalized because it's the name of a state. And next one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. We read the first 2 words, which are, his name. We can already see, well, this is someone's name. This is a proper noun. We can't have that in lowercase. So let's go with choice 1 here. Since it is raining outside, I should blank a raincoat. All right, so we're going to look for definitely a verb because after we see should, we always need a verb. We can't just say, I should vegetables. No, because should is a modal verb and we need to have something after it. We should say, I should eat vegetables, for example. And here we need should. We're going to look for a verb here. So the first one is wear. Wear as in to put on clothes or to have clothes on your body. That's a verb. It's spelled correctly. It goes with raincoat because we're talking about clothes. Great. I like that option. We will go through the others, so always double check, especially if it's a topic you're not really comfortable with. Go through each answer, see if you can eliminate. The next one is where. So this is not a verb, it's a noun. It's not a very commonly used word, but it means like an object or a product. If we think of the word warehouse, like the Amazon warehouse is full of all the goods, all the products of Amazon. It doesn't work here because it's not a fit with raincoat and it's not a verb. So no, 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 no. Where? Okay, so these three all sound the same. That's our trick. That's our challenge. That's where they're trying to trick us, but we're going to be careful. Where is a question word like, where are you? I'm waiting. Where are you? So that doesn't go here. No, 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 no. This is a different where. That would be in a question. And the last one, WHEAR. Well, this is not a word in English, at least not one that I've seen. So let's go with the first one, the verb wear, to put on clothes, to have on clothes. What is the mistake in the following sentence? He asked me, what are you doing this weekend? Okay, so I already see something. Even when I read it, there's a little bit something off. What's the problem that I notice right away? Well, he's asking someone. We even see clearly the verb to ask. And what do we ask? Do we ask a sentence with a period at the end? No, 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 no. We ask a question with a question mark. So that's what jumps out at me. Let's compare our options. The comma is misplaced. Is this the problem? The comma is in the wrong place? No, he asked me, comma, she said, comma. That's where the comma goes before the quote of the direct version of what the person said. Okay, and then number 2, there should be a semicolon after me. Well, no, as we just said, the comma goes before the dialogue, before the direct quote. So that's not a semicolon. No, 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 that's not what we're looking for. There shouldn't be any quotation marks. Well, there should be. That's wrong. This answer is wrong because it's a direct quote. It's what someone said directly. It's not rephrasing. So we need quotation marks there. There should be a question mark after weekend. Well, that's what I mentioned. They say asked. It's clearly a question. We see the question word what to start the question. So we need a question mark. What is the mistake in the following sentence? Albert Einstein claimed imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay, I read it quickly like that for a reason, which we'll see if we go through. Albert Einstein needs an apostrophe. No, 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 no. When do we need an apostrophe? That's when we're talking about possession. The majority of the time, it's when we're talking about something that belongs to us, one of our possessions, one of our objects, or one of our ideas, something like that. If we were talking about Albert Einstein's dog or Albert Einstein's hair, his famous white hair, then we would need an apostrophe because that's something that belonged to him. But here we're working with a verb. He is claiming something. He is saying something. So we don't need an apostrophe. Next, there should be a colon after claimed. Well, in some cases, we can have a colon before a direct quote, but we need a full sentence before that's complete. For example, like the governor made a statement today, and then you could have a colon, and then you could have a statement. So in this case, Albert Einstein claimed that's not complete by itself, because if we just said that, we'd say, well, what does he claim? So we're going to have a comma after, not a colon. That's what we're going to look for. Next, there should be a comma before then. No, no, no. So they're asking us to put the comma in the quote where we're comparing is more important than knowledge. No, in the middle of a comparison like this, we don't put a comma. I like chocolate better than, comma, vanilla. No, I like chocolate better than vanilla. It's more natural. It doesn't stop. We don't need a comma there. Next, there needs to be a comma after claimed. Well, yes, this is what we're looking for. After she said, she asked, and then we're going to have a direct quote. We need the comma before that direct quote. So that's our option there. Fill in the blank with the correctly capitalized form. Every week, they get together to watch blank. Okay, the first option is The Bachelor. If we just hear it, it sounds good. But what do we notice? So the and bachelor are both in lowercase. That would make it a common noun, something general. And in this case, if we're watching a bachelor and it's lowercase, it would mean that this group of people is watching a single man, just watching someone in their neighborhood or just a man in general. That's not what we're talking about. That would be quite creepy. It doesn't work here. They're not watching literally a person in their life. They're watching a show. So we need something that indicates that it's a TV show. So let's go on to number 2. Okay, so The Bachelor, both parts are capitalized, and that's going to indicate that it's a proper noun. It's the name of a TV show. So you might be wondering, okay, the is a short little word. And before, when we saw House of Representatives or when we say United States of America, those short little words are not capitalized even in a proper noun. But here, this is the first word of the name. So we need that as the first word of the name in a proper noun. That has to be capitalized. So that's why we like this option, The Bachelor. Both capitalized to indicate a proper noun, the name of a TV show. The next one, number 3, we'll check it just in case. The is capitalized, good. Bachelor is not capitalized. So we need that capitalized. And then the next one, the, because it's the first word in that proper noun, needs to be capitalized. We'll go with number 2. What is the correct use of a period in the following sentence? So as we know, period, the dot at the end of the sentence. Let's take a look. She had a bad day. We don't even have a period in the first one. And do we need it there? Well, we do need it there, not just because we hear period in the question, but because we have a complete sentence here. We have a subject, verb, object. She is the subject, had the verb, a bad day is the object. What did she have? So we're missing that period at the end. So number 2, she had a bad day, period. Okay, we have a complete sentence with a period after. That's what we're looking for. Next one, she had, period, a bad day. No, well, she had is not a complete sentence here. It's split off from what she had, the object, a bad day. Also, we have that period after had. And if we had a period after complete sentence, which is this is not, but we would need a capital after to start a new complete sentence. And that's not what we see here. We see a lowercase after the period. No, 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 no. The last choice, she period, had period, a period, bad period, day period. Would we see this in maybe an angry text message if you text your friend, I period, hate period, my period, boss? Okay, maybe for emphasis in a text message, but it's not grammatically correct because you're not worried about grammar when you're texting your friends and you're emotional. But with a grammatically correct sentence, we're just going to have a period at the end of the complete sentence, which is number 2. On Earth, blank are 7 continents. Okay, so we need to complete it. The first option there. It sounds good. There are 7 continents, but let's look carefully at the spelling because sometimes words with different meanings and different spellings can sound the same. So we can't only go by spelling. So there, here, the first there, it's a little bit confusing, T-H-E-I-R to be clear, is a possessive. This is the one we use when we say, their house is beautiful, talking about my friends who own a house, or they went on vacation with their children. So what's going to come after this there is something they possess, something they own. It could be a thing, or it could be like an idea, their business savvy, something like that. But it's going to have something they possess after, not a verb like are in this sentence. Next one, there are 7 continents. Well, great. So this is the expression we use to express that something exists. If we look around, oh, there are 2 windows in this room. Okay, those windows exist. And here the 7 continents exist on Earth. That's a great option, T-H-E-R-E. Next one, T-H-E-E-R. Never seen this. Don't recognize the spelling. I don't recognize this as an English word. Let's eliminate it. And the last one there. So this one does exist, but we see that apostrophe that indicates it's a contraction. It's really 2 words that we smush together. They are. And if we have they are, the apostrophe R-E already means are. They are. Also, the they wouldn't fit. So this is something we would use, for example, they're cool to talk about multiple people. They are cool. But it's not going to have are after there because there's already are indicated and it doesn't fit in here. We need there are. What is a mistake in the following sentence? Hospitals can be scary because they are filled with sick people and needles. So when we read it out loud, it actually sounds good, but we have to read carefully and look at spelling, punctuation, grammar. Let's look. The comma is misplaced. That's option 1. So is the comma in the wrong place? Misplaced means it's in the wrong place. Well, no, the comma's in a great place. The comma before the conjunction, before that connecting word because, that works. That's really good. There should be a colon after with. They're filled with, colon, sick people and needles. No, sometimes we have a colon before a list. If we have a long list of everything we brought to the picnic, cups, plates, basket, blanket. But here we just have 2 things with an and between them. We're not going to use a colon before that. Next option, there should be a comma after people are filled with sick people, comma, and needles. No, again, we just have 2 things. So we have, if we just say the flavors are chocolate and vanilla, we don't have a comma between those because we just have 2 options. Sometimes you see a comma before that and with more than 2 choices. So I like skiing, comma, driving, comma, and scuba diving. Okay, in that case, we could have what's called an Oxford comma before the and, but we need to have more than 2 choices to start talking about that. Hospitals does not need an apostrophe. Yes, so this is the problem here. And it's not a problem that you can hear just from me reading it out loud, but you have to read along and look at what's written. So when will we use hospitals with apostrophe? Well, this is mostly used for possessive. So if we talk about the hospital's parking lot is big, that's talking about the parking lot that belongs to the hospital, or the hospital's doctors are nice. So the doctors who work at the hospital who kind of belong to the hospital, that would be a possessive. But here we're talking about a plural. And with a plural, we don't use this apostrophe. We just add S with no apostrophe. How many nouns are in the following sentence? So let's review. What are nouns? A noun, the traditional definition, person, place, or thing. So the thing is not always a physical thing like a pen. It could be like an idea or a concept. So let's take a look at our sentence. The team of scientists presented the results of their research at the conference. Okay, so we have a team. Okay, so that is a thing. It's a group, even though it's not a physical object, but it's a noun of scientists. Okay, so person, place, or thing. A scientist is a person. Okay, presented the results. Okay, the results is a thing. That's the thing they studied or the thing they accomplished. Okay, research. Research is a thing. It's an activity. It's something that we do. It's a type of work. Okay, good. And the conference. Okay, so the person, place, or thing. I mean, I guess we could kind of think of the conference as a place, or we could think of it as an event, which is a thing. So let's see, team, scientists, results, research, conference. Okay, so we're on 5. I mean, you could go through and eliminate the others, but really with these ones, once you've counted higher and you're really sure about it, that's okay to choose the answer. For example, you could go through and say 2. Well, team, scientists, oh, but then results. So it's more than 2. Eliminate that. Oh, but then research, it's more than 3. Oh, but then conference, it's more than 4. Or you can just count directly if you're pretty comfortable with the concept of what a noun is. Identify the dangling or misplaced modifier if there is one. Okay, so we'll have to review this one because when we modify something, when we describe or give more detail about something, that modification, that extra detail needs to be close to what it's talking about because otherwise people can get confused. Let's look at this example. Having been repaired, we can drive the car again. Ooh, okay. The issue here is having been repaired, comma, that's modifying, that's giving some details. Okay, this thing was recently repaired, but it needs to be close to what was repaired. And it's actually close to we, as in we, the people, or we, the family. So were we repaired? No, 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 no. We can see in the sentence what's generally repaired, the car. They're talking about the car, but the car is not the closest thing to that modification, to that extra detail. We need it to be closer, or we need to move that detail. That detail is the problem, the positioning of it. Let's take a look. Having been repaired. Yeah, so it's dangling. What do we mean by dangling? It's dangling by by its hands at the edge of a cliff. Well, kind of like we're almost in suspense, like don't leave us hanging, don't leave us dangling. Having been repaired, having been repaired, what was repaired? It's kind of leaving us hanging because it's not enough directly connected to the thing that we're talking about. So that's why it kind of leaves us hanging, as in, what are we talking about here? What was repaired? So that's the issue. We can drive. Well, this sentence, we might have to move it around when we move the having been repaired, but that detail is really the problem. The car, again, okay, well, that's going to probably stay where it is, and we'll maybe move the dangling modifier over. There is no dangling or misplaced modifier. Well, there is, because it sounds really strange to say having been repaired. The we doesn't belong there. There's always a lot of different ways you could fix these sentences. So, we can talk about moving things around in different ways to rephrase. But really, when we talk about the dangling, that's going to be the part that after we stop and say, wait, what? Wait, what was repaired? What are we talking about here? And that's having been repaired. Select the correct adverb to complete the following sentence. So adverb, what is an adverb? Well, we get a little hint from the word verb, and it kind of adds something in the way that it changes something about the verb, or it explains how we did the verb. So a lot of them have ly at the end. She sings loudly, or she speaks quickly, something like that. But it doesn't always have to be ly. So there's a lot of adverbs with ly, but there's other ones like she teaches well. So that would be an adverb explaining how she teaches the verb. Let's look. So Harry ran more blank than Olive. Okay, what are we going to put in? Slow. Well, slow describes something, but it's an adjective, not an adverb. What's the difference? Well, an adjective is going to describe a noun, a person, place, or thing. So for example, you could say traffic, a noun, is slow. Or you could say the turtle is slow. So the turtle's the thing, the animal, and we're describing it as slow. But that wouldn't have the modification of the verb that we're looking for. We're looking for how Harry ran. So we're not saying Harry is slow. We're not describing Harry. We need a description of his running, which will be an adverb. And we see that with the next one. Slowly is the adverb version. So we're talking about how did Harry run? Slowly. Okay, the next one, more slower. So no, this is a problem because when we have a comparative with that replaces the more. That is the more. So with these short words, for example, she is taller than me, that's going to be the is going to replace a more. It's going to do the comparison. So we don't need more and It's redundant. It's too much. Sometimes we see more, like more difficult. The test was more difficult than last year's test. But in that case, we don't have the Here we have the and the more. They don't work together. Slowest, so more slowest. No. We don't have more with ist. Ist is called the superlative, like the best or the tallest or the coolest. But we're going to usually have the, and we don't have more in there. More is comparing two things. So let's go with number 2. That's the adverb that modifies the verb of running. How many pronouns are in the following sentence? So what is a pronoun? A pronoun replaces the person, place, or thing, the noun, and it takes its place, and it's often shorter. So if we say Mr. Johnson, and then we replace it with he, the he is shorter, so we don't need to do the whole name every time in the sentence. So let's take a look. We asked for his opinion, which he was happy to give. So let's look for those words that replace often short words. We won't, say 100% of the time, but often short words that replace a person, place, or thing. So we, okay, yeah, so that could replace, for example, Harriet and I, instead of saying that, we. Okay, so a pronoun. Asked for his, okay, so a short word connected to the person, whoever this person is. Opinion, no, that's a noun. Which, okay, which is referring to the noun of opinion, but it's replacing it, so it's a pronoun. He, Okay, he, we don't know this person's name, but he is a pronoun, was happy to give. Okay, so our count is at 4. Again, with these, it's kind of hard to do elimination and to really carefully look at the other answers, because if you're comfortable about the fact of what a pronoun is, then you can count directly. Otherwise, you can kind of eliminate and say, maybe if you just know we and he, and you're just sure that those are pronouns and you're not sure about the others, at least you can eliminate the first answer. And you can say, oh, we and he, I'm sure about, so let's eliminate one. So you could do by process of elimination if you're not super comfortable with the topic. Select a verb that correctly completes the following sentence. Blank, not worry about it. So the first option is not worry about it. No. This doesn't work. So if we're going to have is, that's a verb, the verb to be, we need someone before it. Who is? So he is, she is, it is. So there's some languages, for example, in Spanish, you can drop the subject and you don't need the subject. You can just do the verb and you know by the conjugation who you're talking about. But that doesn't work in English. We need subject verb. Also, even if we had someone, he is, not worry, that doesn't work. We would need to change it to an adjective, worried. So there would be too many changes here. We're far off the mark. No. The next choice, number 2, do not worry about it. Okay, great. So when we say do not worry, we're making a negative of to worry. We're negating that verb. And we're also doing imperative. So we're directly, that means kind of giving someone an order. It's not always a mean order. You can say, oh, don't worry about it. So that's kind of like a nice way of giving someone an order. So do not worry about it is a complete phrase because it's a negative and it's imperative that you're saying directly to someone. The next one, you not worry about it. So we still have not here. So we would have to have you do not, because we need to make that negative of worry with do not or don't. We need that. We need both of those parts to make the negative. And that's not here. We don't have everything we need to make a grammatically correct sentence. And the next one was not worry about it. Again, just like the first one, we're missing who, you, he, she. It's different for do because we make it direct and we're talking to the person who's reading or we're talking to our friend directly. But with was, we would need to add some kind of he, she, and we would have to change the worry to worried. So that's another problem. It's very similar to is. So let's go with do, the negative imperative. Fill in the blank with the correct coordinating conjunction. Okay, coordinating conjunction, that brings together two clauses. These are clauses that are more equal and they can each stand on their own. So that's what we're looking for here. Would you like the soup or would you like the salad? Okay, or is a coordinating conjunction. And in this case, we see that it fits because what we're looking at is a choice between two options and we need to make a decision. So or works really well. Next one, yet. Would you like the soup? Yet, would you like the salad? So yet is a contrast word. And you could say, oh, but soup and salad, that's a contrast. But not in this context. We're actually trying to make a choice between two things. Yet would have both things are true, but they contrast each other. So I like chocolate, yet I don't like white chocolate. Both of those things are true. But in this case, we need to decide. There's a fork in the road. We need to make a decision. So yet doesn't work. But it's the same thing. Would you like the soup? But would you like the salad? No, that would be two things that are both true, but have a contrast to each other. No. We need that fork in the road here. And would you like the soup? And would you like the salad? No. This doesn't work. I mean, maybe there are restaurants where you can have soup and salad, but we would structure the sentence differently. We would ask a different question. We would say, would you like soup and salad? So we wouldn't ask the would you like two different times. That doesn't make sense for and. So we're going to go with or. We have to make a choice between two things here. How many verbs are in the following sentence? They toured the art museum and saw the conservatory. What is a verb? A verb is some kind of action that we're doing. It's not always action like run or fight or jump. It's not always action movie action. It can just be to be. I am happy. Okay, am is to be the verb, but it's some kind of action term. That's what we use for a verb. Let's take a look. So what did they do? That's kind of one way of asking yourself how I can find the verb. What did they do that day? So they toured. Okay, they went on a tour. They toured. That's a verb, the art museum, and saw the conservatory. So those are the things they did. They toured and they saw. Again, saw is not the most action verb, but a verb is just an activity that you accomplish, and it's the action of the subject, in this case, they, the group. So they toured, they saw. We have two verbs here. And again, maybe if you're not comfortable with the idea of a verb, you could take a look and see, okay, well, we have a complete sentence with a period. There must be at least one verb because otherwise it's not a complete sentence. We need a verb to make a sentence complete. So you could eliminate at least the first answer and say, well, it's not possible to have 0 verbs in a complete sentence. So if you're not comfortable with the topic, try to eliminate any answer you can, and then your chance of choosing the correct one goes up. Which of the following is an example of a simple sentence? A simple sentence. So what does that mean? Does that mean something that's not complicated by a lot of emotions and different thoughts? Well, a grammatically simple sentence, we're going to have a subject, verb, object. So we're going to have the kind of person or thing or animal who does the verb, and then we're going to do what do they do it to, how do they do it, something that completes the sentence. But because it's simple, that means we're not going to have different clauses. So we're not going to see a sentence where we have a conjunction word like because, and even though. We're not going to see that connect two different clauses. No. There's going to be one clause. Let's take a look. Tamara's sporting goods store. So even though it's trying to be sneaky and disguise itself as a sentence with a period at the end, is this actually a sentence? No, it's just Tamara's sporting goods store. It's just a possession of Tamara's, but we're missing a verb, so it's not a complete sentence. No, let's eliminate it. Tamara has a sporting goods store in town. Okay, yeah, so Tamara, that's the subject, that's the person. It could be an animal or something else, but in this case, it's a person, Tamara. Has, okay, that's a verb, to have. And then a sporting goods store in town. Okay, so that's the completion. That's the object. If we ask, what does Tamara have? Oh, okay, she has a store in town. Okay. And you might be saying, oh, but that's not that simple. It's not just subject, verb, object, 3 words. Well, we can have a little bit of description like in town or something else that's an adjective. You could say, oh, she has a red balloon. It's okay to add an adjective in. We just don't want to add an extra clause. That would be the problem. So this one's okay. Next, Tamara has a sporting goods store. It is in town. Okay, so grammatically incorrect because it's sounding like a run-on sentence because we're lacking some kind of connection here. We really have 2 clauses. They haven't been split appropriately by punctuation, but Tamara has a sporting goods store and it is in town because we have it is. We're starting with another subject and verb. So we're starting a new clause there. We could start a whole new sentence there. Or we could connect them, for example, with a semicolon or some kind of punctuation. But we're having 2 subject verbs. We're starting 2 different clauses. No. That's not simple. Tamara's sporting goods store is in town and she is the owner. Again, we have something that we could start to split up into 2 sentences. I mean, here they're connected by punctuation, but we see subject verb. Suddenly we have another subject verb. We have multiple clauses. Simple sentence only has 1 clause. Let's go with number 2. Which of the following options would give this sentence a parallel structure? Okay, so with the parallel structure, we're going to have kind of a repetition of the form of the word. So if it ends in ing, if it ends in ed, which I might see here, if it's the infinitive of the verb. So we're going to look at what's repeated and then keep the same form when we add something new. The room was cleaned, painted, and... So what do we see about the form of these verbs? So cleaned, painted, they're in the past tense with ed. Okay, so let's take a look at something that will match. We want something that matches in the set. The room was cleaned, painted, and Tory. And Tory, cleaned, painted, verbs in the past, and Tory. Okay, then we see redecorated it. But We need to move that redecorated because when we just say it out loud, we can hear it sound strange. Was cleaned, painted, and Tory. No, no, no. Even though we have redecorated after, it's not in the right position for this parallel structure. The next one, the room was cleaned, painted, and redecorated. Cleaned, painted, and redecorated. Okay, we like that parallel structure. We have those three verbs in past tense by Tori. And then after the parallel structure is complete and logical, we're going to add another detail, but that's okay to add that after. I like that option. The room was cleaned, painted, and redecorating. So here we don't even see the ED form, which is what we're looking for to match the other two ED forms. So no. Tori as redecorating it, the last option. Again, we're seeing the ing form is not a match for what we have in our sentence. Let's go with number 2. Which of the following is an example of a complex sentence? A complex sentence is going to have multiple clauses and they're connected, they're brought together by a subordinating conjunction. So what is that? That's a connecting word that actually makes one clause dependent on the other. So when we start off building the sentence, we might have two clauses that could be sentences on their own, but then we add some kind of connecting word that makes one unable to stand alone. So we end up with independent clause, subordinating conjunction, that connecting word, and then dependent clause, the clause that can't go stand on its own now. Let's take a look. Roberto had a job through high school. He volunteered his time. Well, this isn't even grammatically correct because the comma is not strong enough to connect these two things, and we don't see that conjunction. We're missing that connecting word. No. Roberto had a job through high school and he volunteered his time. So we have and here, it's a conjunction, but here it's what's called a coordinating conjunction. So that means that these two parts are equal and we have two independent clauses, and that doesn't make a complex sentence, unfortunately. It's not the right kind of connecting word. Because Roberto had a job through high school, he volunteered his time. Okay, so this is a conjunction that doesn't work here because it doesn't make sense. Because he had a job, he volunteered. It just logically is not the right conjunction here because it's not logical. We're saying he has a job, he's really busy, and he's volunteering. We need more of a contrast conjunction. So let's look at the next one. Even though, okay, we have a contrast here. He's really busy, but he's still finding time. Okay. Even though Roberto had a job through high school, he volunteered his time. So what do we see here? We have even though, that's our subordinating conjunction. So it's making this first clause, even though Roberto had a job through high school, that's our dependent clause. What does dependent mean? It means if we just chop the sentence here, it can't stand alone. It's too needy. It needs something else to finish it. Because if I start telling you a story and I say, even though Roberto had a job through high school, you'll say, he what? Okay, even though he did what? You're waiting for more because the dependent clause is not complete. But we do have a complete and independent clause in the other part. He volunteered his time. So those three ingredients, the subordinating conjunction, the dependent clause that can't stand on its own, and the independent clause that can stand on its own, together those make up a complex sentence. Identify the conjunction in the following sentence. Conjunction is our connecting word. So we're going to bring two different ideas or two different parts of the sentence, two different clauses together. Let's take a look. He is sick, yet he came to work. Okay, so we have the idea he is sick. We have the idea he came to work. What brings them together? Yet. Okay, so is the connecting word the conjunction? No, it's a verb. No. Yet. Okay, so this is the thing that brings those two ideas together. And why do we use yet in this sentence? Yet is a contrast word because we have he's sick. So our expectation, he's going to stay home. Yet he came to work. It's kind of a surprise. It's kind of a twist. So we need a contrast word to express the difference between those two ideas. And that's the conjunction we see here with yet. Came to work is another verb. So that's a verb. And to work, to is a preposition. It's not a conjunction connecting word. No, yet. Identify the direct object in the following sentence if there is one. After hiking, the scouts cooked dinner over a campfire. Let's look at our options and see what parts of speech they are. Scouts. Well, scouts is In this case, they are the subject because they're the ones doing the action. So the subject does the verb. The scouts cook. So they're the subject. Dinner. Okay, so what is being cooked? What is being done by the verb? Dinner is being cooked. So that's our direct object there. Campfire. Well, in this case, it's not a direct object because it's not cooking the campfire. We have some added detail about the campfire, but if we ask, what are we cooking? It's dinner. That's the direct object. Identify the dangling modifier in the following sentence. So again, we're going to have some detail, and then right after it, we want to know, what are you talking about with this detail? What object or what person does this detail apply to? So we're going to need to see that clearly. If not, we have a dangling modifier. After reading the book, okay, we have some detail that someone read a book. So who is it? Who is it? Are you going to let us dangle and leave us in suspense, or tell us who read the book? The movie. Okay, well, we're dangling, we're in suspense, wanting to know who read this book because we know the movie didn't read a book. It doesn't make sense. So this is not a correctly structured sentence. After reading the book, the movie that just came out must be pretty bad. Yeah, so we're dangling. After reading the book, we're dangling because we don't know who read the book. So the movie, we might have to move it, but it's not the part that leaves us dangling. The same with that just came out, must be really bad. Maybe we have to restructure the whole sentence, but the part that leaves us in suspense because it doesn't clarify who it's talking about, that's after reading the book. Which of the following options would give the sentence a parallel structure? Okay, so remember parallel structure, we want to see a repetition of the form of the word, the form of the verb often. Let's take a look. Timothy has a lot of goals in life, like getting his master's in education, volunteering his time to help others. And so do we see kind of a pattern building? Well, I see getting, that's ing form, what we call the gerund. It's kind of a verb acting like a noun, sometimes to express an activity or an accomplishment like here. Getting, we see volunteering. So I really want to look for another ing. And this one is actually pretty nice because they're not tricking us too much with the answers. We just see one option with ing with a gerund form. But let's go through carefully. Getting his master's in education, volunteering his time to help others, and published. No, so we have getting, volunteering, and published. So published is in the past tense. And if it's one of his goals that he hasn't accomplished yet, the past tense doesn't work. It's also not parallel because ed does not match the ing. Next, publishing his own book. Okay, so it's in the ing form like the others. Will publish his book. Okay, so maybe this goal will be accomplished in the future, but will publish is not in the same form as getting and volunteering. Would publish. No, so this is, kind of a conditional or a hypothetical, but it doesn't work. We need that ing, that gerund form to match the others. Select the correct word to complete the sentence. It's exciting to watch the nation rebuild blank economy. It's okay. So this is quite tricky. This is actually a very difficult one because what we're looking for here is a possessive. So you might say, oh, possessive, that needs to have an apostrophe. I know that. The problem is not with its. It's without apostrophe is actually the possessive. So this is the correct answer. We'll see why with the next answer. So the next one is its. Okay, you see an apostrophe, you think, oh, this is the possessive. This is the economy that belongs to this nation. Because I know when I say like Sarah's car, we have apostrophe S. But the problem is, if we look at this word, if we just look at option 2, we see that it's a very common expression. It is. It's nice out today. It is nice out today. This one functions as it is. So it's kind of an irregular possessive. This one is not the possessive. There, the nation. Well, we're not going to use there because the nation, even though it's made up of a lot of people, and I understand that, the nation is like the group, the band, the family. It's a singular, made up of a lot of people, but functioning as a singular. And then these economy, well, these needs to have something plural after it. These apples, these ideas, that doesn't work. So it's irregular possessive here, and it is a bit tricky. So I understand if you had a challenge with that one. How many modifiers describe the underlined word in the following sentence? So we're going to look for modifiers, something that describes, something that gives more detail about the underlined thing. So the royal wedding was beautiful and meaningful. So what do we know about the wedding? Well, they told us it was beautiful. Great. They told us it was meaningful. Great. What else do we know about the wedding? Was it a normal, everyday wedding? Was it a wedding between two average people? No, it's a royal wedding. So even though that goes before, it's also a modifier. So here we have 3 different modifiers. And again, even if you're not sure about the fact that royal is modifying wedding, it's giving us more detail about what kind of wedding it was, you can still eliminate some answers because you can see it's described as beautiful and meaningful. So even if you just know those 2 are correct, you can eliminate the first 2 answers and you can go for kind of a 50-50 so you have a better chance of getting it correct. Identify the dangling or misplaced modifier in the following sentence. Okay, so I hope they don't leave us dangling again in suspense about what the detail, what the information is referring to. Maybe they will. Let's see. When 6 years old, okay, someone was 6 years old, a person was 6 years old, but who was it? Our family. We're dangling, we're in suspense, we're holding on to the ledge. But who? But who in the family? The family can't be 6 years old. 6 years old is for one person. So who? We're dangling, we're in suspense about that 6 years old. When 6 years old, our family was transferred overseas by my father's company. So, I mean, the problem with these is that you know what the person is referring to. It's probably the person telling the story when they were 6 years old, but we need to be grammatically correct. So we can't leave us dangling about leave us in suspense who was 6 years old. So that's the problem. That's looking for more information. That's a detail that needs some kind of follow up directly after. Our family, no. So that's not the problem. It might get moved around. The other parts of the sentence, they might get moved around. But what really needs clarification directly after it is the when 6 years old. How many nouns in the following sentence have incorrect capitalization? Okay, so capitalization police, we're going to look for some problems here, some errors. The Patel family moved to the United States and now they live in the Boston area. Okay, so we see the first letter of the sentence, letter and word of the whole sentence is capitalized. The, of course, that's how we start a sentence. We see Patel. Okay, so Patel is a proper noun because it's a name, it's a last name. So that's good that it's capitalized. That's not an error. Family. Well, family is a common noun. It's more general. We don't capitalize that unless it's, part of a movie title, part of a song title, but not here. Move to the United States. Okay, so good. So United States is capitalized. So that's good because it's the name of a country. And now they live in the Boston. Okay, another proper noun, the name of a city. But area is a general word. So that's a common noun. It won't be capitalized. So we see family and we see area. Those are our problems. So we're roughly about halfway through the test now. How are you doing? Is it challenging? We have a bunch of resources at the link in the description below. You can click there and see our free practice test, our free HESI A2 study group, and you can also access our online self-paced course, and that will have interactive questions, videos, and flashcards for all sections of your HESI A2 entrance exam. Check it out. Identify the direct object in the following sentence. Paolo accidentally locked his keys in his car. To find the direct object, we want to go to the verb, kind of zoom in on that verb, and then say, they did this to what? What did they do the verb to? So what did he lock? His keys. That's the direct object. So Paolo, no. Paolo is the subject of the sentence, the one doing the action. Accidentally, no, that's an adverb saying how he locked the keys. How did that happen? How did the verb happen? Next, his keys. Okay, what was the verb done to? The keys. Okay. And his car. So that is more indirect. So we have a description of where the keys were located. But what did he lock? His keys. Direct object. What part of speech is the underlined word in the following sentence? Douglas served on the Supreme Court for 36 years. Is this a noun? Yes, because the Supreme Court is a thing. So we have noun, person, place, or thing. So in this case, it's not really a object you can hold in your hands, but things like an idea is a thing, intelligence is a thing. The Supreme Court is a thing. So it's a noun. Is it a pronoun? Is it one of these words that replaces the noun? We could say Douglas served on it. That would be more a pronoun replacing the noun of Supreme Court, but that's not what we see here. Adjective, Douglas served on the awesome Supreme Court for 36 years. That would be the adjective, but we don't see that here. That would be describing the noun, but it's not the noun. And then preposition, so that's like the word on in this sentence would be a preposition, but Supreme Court is a noun, person, place, or thing. Identify the direct object in the following sentence if there is one. Max tried so hard, but he did not succeed. Okay, so we're always going to zoom in on those verbs. So he tried what? No, I mean, we have so hard, that describes not what he tried, but that describes how he tried. So that's an adverbial phrase. That's not a direct object. What about, let's see, did and succeed? Those are verbs, but we don't, what did he succeed? No, we don't have that information. We don't have direct objects in here. There is no direct object. So we have so hard together. That's an adverbial phrase. So that's describing how he tried. Those don't fit. Not is the negation, making the negative. There is no direct object. Identify the conjunction in the following sentence. So let's look for our connecting word that brings together two ideas, two clauses, two concepts. Let's take a look. I walked home even though my feet really hurt. So we have the idea or the action, I walked home, my feet really hurt. What brings them together? What's the conjunction that brings them together, that connects them? Even though. So home, no, that's where I walked. Even though, that is our conjunction, our connecting word. My, that's the possessive. So that's not the connecting word. Really hurt, well, that's the verb and then a description of how much they hurt. But the connecting, well, in this case, connecting phrase, even though. How many plural nouns are in the following sentence? Marie's father's appendix was taken out. So if you're not too clear on your grammar concepts and you need to review them a little bit, you might say, oh, I hear S. Oh, I hear S. Okay, I hear Marie's, I hear father's. S makes a plural, right? But here, in this case, we see apostrophe S after Marie. That makes a possession of Marie, something that belongs to her. In this case, it's her father, so it's not her possession, but the father of Marie. And then we have fathers is the appendix belongs to the father. The father belongs to Marie in a sense. These are possessives with apostrophe S, and these are not plurals. Also appendix. So we have appendix was taken out. So even if you were unsure if appendix was plural or singular, you can say it was. So that's a singular. So do we see anything plural here? Is there more than one Marie? No, we're just saying Marie has a father. That's why we're using apostrophe S. Is there more than one father? No. Is there more than one appendix? No. Okay, no plural nouns. How many nouns are in the following sentence? Okay, so do we see a person, place, or thing? Well, you could say I, but that's a pronoun. You could say her, referring to a person, but that's a pronoun. So if we're looking for a noun in terms of person, place, or thing that's not a pronoun, we don't see it here. We're seeing pronouns, I and her, but we're not seeing nouns. And then, of course, don't know is a verb in the negative. Select the correct word to complete the following sentence. I don't think I did very blank at the tryouts. Okay, so we're going to look for something to modify the verb did. So if we want to change or add some detail or modify a verb like to do, what do we need? We need an adverb. So let's take a look. I don't think I did very best at the tryouts. Best doesn't fit here. Sometimes, for example, in an advertisement, you'll see the very best bread in the world, which is kind of an exaggeration, but that would have like the best as a superlative, the number one. But it's not talking about how she did, how she performed, or how he performed, how they performed. So this doesn't fit here. Best doesn't fit. I don't think I did very well. Okay. So, well, that's an adverb that modifies did. And well, that's why we can say, oh, she's doing well in the class. We don't say the next one, she's doing good. No, because good is an adjective. We can say, oh, this chocolate chip cookie is really good. But if we're talking about a verb like to do, did, we need that adverb. Well, not that adjective, good. Better, well, better is a comparative. So we would say, I don't know, McDonald's is better than Burger King or whatever your opinion is, but that would compare two things. And here they're just talking about how they did, how they performed well, or in this case, not well, unfortunately, but it is the correct answer. Identify the subordinating conjunction in the following sentence. Don't leave until we get there. Subordinating conjunction, we have a conjunction, a connecting word. And then when it's subordinating, that just means that it transforms part of the sentence to make it dependent so it can't stand on its own anymore. Let's take a look. Don't leave until we get there. So, first choice, until. So when we added that until, we made the phrase until we get there. That can't stand alone anymore. Until we get there, what's the rest of that phrase there? That can't stand alone. Because of this connecting word, it's been made into a dependent phrase. That's exactly what a subordinating conjunction does. So we will just go through the other answers just to say why they're incorrect. We is the pronoun replacing the group, like Sarah and I, something like that we can replace with we. But it's a pronoun. It's not a subordinating conjunction. Get is the verb, and there is the place that we're going, but it's not a connecting word that brings our two clauses together. No. That's until. Select the correct word to complete the following sentence. It was a treacherous route, and they traveled more blank when they had a guide. So if you don't know the word treacherous, a good little vocab review. Dangerous, so it's a dangerous road that they're traveling. And they traveled. How did they travel? The verb to travel is looking for something after to describe it, to modify. So we're going to look for an adverb. So let's look at the first one, safe. They traveled more safe. Safe is not an adverb. It doesn't modify the verb. Safe is an adjective. So for example, we could say my city is safe. But in this case, we're looking to modify a verb. Safe doesn't work. Safer, they traveled more safer. Well, we already discussed the fact that and more don't go together, and safer also doesn't fit here. But anytime you hear more better, more taller, more smarter, no. We don't use and more together. No. Safest, more safest. Well, safest is a superlative word, the best, the coolest, the safest, and it doesn't go with more. More safely. So safely, actually a really classic example of an adverb because it ends in ly. Not all our adverbs end in ly. Think about the word well, which is a very common adverb. But in this case, we have a classic adverb. How did they travel? How? Safely. Select the correct verb to complete the following sentence. Neither Grandma nor Aunt Lucy blank where the old photos are. We have a neither nor here. And then we have two people who are both singular people. So with neither nor, separating each of these singular people, we're going to conjugate for a singular person. It would be different situation if we said neither grandma nor my cousins, then we would use a plural conjugation after. But here, let's focus on both of these are singular people. With a neither nor, we're going to conjugate for either one of them. Let's conjugate for Aunt Lucy. So neither Grandma nor Aunt Lucy knows where the old photos are. So is it one? No, that doesn't fit. We would have to have plural people to have know. They know, the cousins know. Neither Grandma nor Aunt Lucy knows where the old photos are. Okay, yes. So we're treating them as singular because they're separated by neither nor and they're both individuals. Known. No. This is not how we use known. We would have to have they have known each other for a long time. It would have to be a different context for this past participle to fit. Knowing, no. Knowing is a gerund form, or it could be part of a continuous tense, but it doesn't really fit here because we need a conjugation in the present simple for one person. So neither Grandma nor Aunt Lucy knows where the old photos are. Which of the following options would give this sentence a parallel structure? So for me, parallel structure questions are pretty straightforward. Maybe you'll get a tricky one, but really we want to see a repetition. We have to notice a pattern in what they give us and then complete the pattern with something that matches. It's like not one of these things is not like the other, but which of these things is like the other? Let's take a look. Traveling gives people memorable experiences, exposes them to different cultures, and so what do we see repeating? Okay, traveling gives people memorable experiences. So conjugating the verb in present, traveling gives, exposes. So we're conjugating the present. And because it's for traveling, which is a singular concept, we have the S there. So let's see if we have another verb that's in present simple with an S. And broadens their perspective. Okay, option 1, very good. Gives people memorable experiences, exposes them to different cultures, and broadens their perspective. Okay, so we see those match. That's what a parallel structure is. And to broaden. No. Suddenly we have the infinitive of the verb, but the other ones, it's not traveling to give. No. It doesn't match. And broadening, the ing doesn't match. We're talking about S in the present simple, not the ing gerund form. No, it doesn't match with these other two that we see in our sentence. Will broaden? No. Maybe conceptually you say, oh, future travel will. No, it doesn't match. The form doesn't match the other two that we see. Broadens matches. Fill in the blank with the correct coordinating conjunction. Okay, coordinating conjunction, a connecting word or phrase that brings together two clauses and keeps them pretty equal. Julia wanted the new iPhone blank. She could not afford it. What kind of conjunction are we looking for? Even before we start to look at the answers, we can think and we can get an idea. Look at these two things. She wanted the new iPhone. Oh, yeah. She could not afford it. No. So what we're going to look for is a contrast word where one thing is good, one thing is bad, or one thing is on this side of the argument, the other is on the other. So let's look for a contrast. Julia wanted the new iPhone, so she could not afford it. No, it doesn't fit. So is more cause and effect. I studied a lot, so I passed the test. Those things go together. I studied a lot, I passed the test. Okay, cause and effect. They're not contrasts. Or Julia wanted the new iPhone, or she could not afford it. We use or if we're deciding between two things. Do you want chocolate or vanilla? That's not the case here. Julia wanted the new iPhone, but she could not afford it. Okay, we see a contrast here. But is a contrast word and a coordinating conjunction. And she could not afford it. No, that doesn't match. Those don't go together. We have a positive thing, a negative thing. We need but as the contrast conjunction. Identify the dangling or misplaced modifier if there is one. All right, so let's hope this time they don't leave us in suspense. We're probably going to have some kind of detail or some kind of extra fact, and then we're going to want to know who it's about. We're not really in so much suspense, but let's think of it like that. Let's hope they clarify who it's about. Hoping for sun. Okay, so who is hoping for sun? Please tell us. We can't wait. We're dangling. We're at the edge of a cliff. We're in suspense. We, finally. Okay, finally, they actually told us who was hoping for sun. We were. Okay, great. This works. This is grammatically correct. This is a good example of what's correct. Hoping for sun, comma. This is the little detail. Who is it about? We need to know right after the comma. We need to know right away we're in suspense. We comes right after the comma where it should. Hoping for sun, we went to the beach. So no problems here. I mean, once we recognize this is a grammatically correct sentence, we can comfortably choose number 4 and confidently. Identify the preposition in the following sentence. It's really hot in that room. So we're looking for a preposition. There's many different types of prepositions, so that can be tricky, but it's often indicating position or time in the month of June or a hat on my head. You can think of the classic example as kind of the diagram of like a cat in a box. The cat is on the box, the cat is in the box, the cat is next to the box. Here we say in that room is the position word. So it doesn't work. It is the subject. In this case, it's hard to define because if we say it's raining, well, what is raining? The weather. This is kind of the atmosphere or the environment in the room is really hot, or the temperature is really hot. But nevertheless, it is the subject. Hot is the adjective. So what is the temperature or the atmosphere? Hot is the adjective, and that is specifying which room. So clarifying which room. But in is the preposition, in this case of position. How many verbs are in the following sentence? So how many kind of action terms? What did we do? We read about World War I, World War II, and the Korean War in my history class. So what did we do? Action verb is what we're going to do. We read. So that's the verb. I don't know what other verbs you could think. I'm tempted to always go through the answers to be careful, but we know that we have some kind of verb. We can pretty easily eliminate number one unless we have grammatical errors that are really clear. But here we see a complete sentence with a period that needs to have a verb. So we can definitely eliminate answer one, which is 0. So we can definitely eliminate that. Even if you're not too sure, that much you can be sure about. Identify the direct object in the following sentence. So remember, we're going to kind of zoom in on the verb and see what comes after, see what the verb is being done to. The doctor treated 10 new patients last night. So what's our verb? Let's zoom in. Treated. And what did he treat? What did she treat? Or who did she treat? Who did they treat? 10 new patients. Okay, so the patients, they treated the patients. So doctor is the subject of the sentence, the one who's doing the treating. The 10 is the count of the patients, but it's not like, who did the doctor treat? 10. No, that doesn't answer that question. And last night is just more information about when, but that's not directly connected to our verb. Select the correct verb to complete the following sentence. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because the whole family blank together. Okay, because the whole family being together. No, this doesn't work here. This gerund doesn't work. We have because, and then we have the whole family as a subject. We need a verb after, and this gerund, even though it's a form of a verb, it actually acts like a noun. For example, you could say, being with my family is fun. And in that case, is the verb, and being with my family is the activity that's kind of acting like a noun. It doesn't work here, the gerund. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because the whole family were together. So 2 problems here. So we have Thanksgiving is, so we know we're in the present tense, were is in the past. We also have the whole family, even though it's a group of multiple people, and I understand that, the family is acting as a singular because they're together as a unit. The band, the group, the country, the team, the family, those are actually singular nouns, even though we know they're made up of multiple people, but it should be used as a singular. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because the whole family are together. Well, here we're in the right tense, in the present tense, but again, this is a plural. It's treating family as a plural when family is actually a singular because it's one unit. And the last option, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because the whole family is together. Okay, so we have the family is acting as a singular, conjugated correctly, and in the present, because we see another clue, is in the sentence tells us we're in present. Fill in the blank with the correct coordinating conjunction. My daughter is in the school play, blank, I want to go to every performance. Let's look at some of our options for the connecting word. My daughter is in the school play, so I want to go to every performance. So is often about cause and effect or the reason for something. The daughter being in the school play is a good reason, a good motivation to go to the performance. She is in the play, so the effect is, I want to go to every performance. That looks really good. My daughter is in the school play, or I want to go to every performance. No. Or is for a choice. Yeah, or is for I either want to go to the beach or the mountains. That's not what we have here. No. We're not making a decision like a fork in the road. No. My daughter is in the school play, but I want to go to every performance. So is this some kind of contrast that we see? Is this unexpected? No. But would be a contrast word. It would be when two things are in conflict or two things are surprising that they're paired together. But this is not surprising. It's normal and expected that the daughter's participation would make the parent want to go. My daughter is in the school play and I want to go to every performance. Okay, I mean, if you're going down to narrowing options, this is a good second place option, but we really prefer so because the daughter being in the play is the motivation and has the effect of creating the desire to go to the performance. So it's not just and two things exist, coexist. It's really the reason. How many pronouns are in the following sentence? Surya and Mark asked about you. Okay, so we have you, the word that's replacing someone's name. We don't know this person's name, but you is a often short word. I won't say 100%, but a word that's replacing a person's name or it's connected to referring to that person. So you is the pronoun in that sentence. Select the correct verb to complete the following sentence. Our family blank staying home for the holidays this year. All right, let's look at our options. Our family is staying home for the holidays this year. Yes, so we have our family is staying. So together that completes the present continuous tense. In this case, it's a plan that we're making for this year. It's actually a little bit later this year that the holidays are happening, but we're planning. So we're planning to stay. Our family is staying home. We're using the present continuous tense to talk about the plans we're making for this year. And our family, again, as we said, the unit or the group of our family is singular. That's why we have the conjugation is. Our family be staying home for the holidays this year. No, 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 no. So this is the infinitive or the bare infinitive of the verb be. But because we have our family, the subject, we need to conjugate the verb that comes next. We conjugate as is. Be is not the conjugation. Our family am. Am is a conjugation of to be, but it's a conjugation for I. I am a teacher. So our family am. No, 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 no. That's not the correct conjugation. Our family are. Some people will be tempted and they'll say, oh, our family, that's made up of multiple people, so they are. No, no, no. The family, our family is a unit. Is. Wow, we finished. I'm really proud that you got through the whole test with me. Thanks for following along. If you want to take a free practice test with all the sections, click the link in the description below. Online, you can also access our free HESI study group, or you can choose to take the online self-paced course with a lot of different resources about the HESI. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more HESI exam content. See you next time.